Welcome to Moxie Bets, presented by Caesar Sportsbook. I'm your host, Katie Mox. Happy Friday. Coming up on today's show, we'll recap last night's matchup between the Colts and the Broncos. It was an ugly one, and we'll take a look at 5 games this Sunday and tell you which way we're leaning. And of course, you know it, you got some Mox Locks coming your way for the weekend, week 5 of the NFL. But first, let's welcome back Kenny Bets Big to the show on a Friday, but you were in Honduras this week. How was your vacation?
Yes. Fresh off the plane from Honduras. It was good. It was different vacation than I'm used to. You know, normally I'm in the private villas and having fun, in luxury. But
humble brag.
No, but this time I was out mixing up with the locals. My girlfriend's actually from Honduras, so
okay, cool.
Yeah, so every the town she's from, they have a big festival every year. It's called La Feria. I think I said that right. My Spanish is not so great, but so it's a big festival. So they have it's a week-long thing. So it's cool. I got to see everyone in the town dance and all the music, and the food is delicious. So it was a cool experience. It was nice.
That's awesome. And we were talking in the pre-show that you were watching football games with geckos running all over the television.
Yeah, we were at one of the bars for the Chiefs-Bucks games, and there was geckos all over the screen. And then unfortunately. Wild. Yeah, it's a different world, right? It's pretty cool, though. And unfortunately for Monday, I found a local bookie over there in Honduras. And I put a huge bet in on the Rams, faded your Niners, and egg on my face now.
Yeah, Kenny, we'll get into this, but you tend to fade the Niners, and I do think it's something personal, and we'll have to work this out. I'll be curious to see. Well, actually, I feel like I know what's going to happen when we talk about the Niners game coming up. But let's first get into the Mox thought and the most disgusting game. I thought that the Niners versus the Broncos game was the most disgusting game I'd watched until last night came along. The Colts beat the Broncos 12-9 in a field goal kicking contest last night. The Broncos could have tied in overtime, but they went for it on 4th and 1 at the 5, and then they couldn't even run. I mean, it's the play calling from Hackett, the play from Russell Wilson, the amount of injuries that happened last night. What did you think of this game? I cashed on my bets. I had the under, which was the lock of the century, and all the trends pointed towards that. I had Russell Wilson over his rush yards. He rushed a lot. I think he had 24 within the first couple plays of the game. He rushed for 18 in the first quarter for sure. And then I sprinkled a little bit on the Colts to have a turnover for their first drive, and I was just basically one drive too early. But what do you think?
Ugly.
Yeah.
And can we talk? We talked about this a few shows ago. Is Russell Wilson overrated at this point, or what's going on there? Because
I'll agree. I didn't agree with you a couple weeks ago. I agree with you now. I mean that I don't know what is happening, but he looks awful.
Yeah, awful. So bad. He had, I think it was Judy running wide open to the end zone. He doesn't hit him, and
KJ Hamler also in the end zone didn't hit him. I mean, it's just didn't even see him.
Yeah, it's funny because I think it was week 1 versus the Seahawks, where Hackett went for the 60 whatever yard field goal to try to win the game. Had he not done that, do you think he kicks that field goal to tie it? Because they got a lot of backlash for going for that field goal and not going for it. How do you not tie the game there?
I mean, your guess is good. Your guess is as good as mine. This year has been so interesting because I feel like there's so many coaches that are, not opting to go for it, and everyone's mad about it. You're a wimp. Go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and then the ones that go for it and then should have kicked the field goal. I feel like nobody's happy either way. But just this Broncos team and this Broncos offense is just god awful. And the fact that they're getting another primetime game, that we have to watch them on Monday night again against the Chargers, I don't know what the NFL was thinking. I mean, clearly they were thinking the Russell Wilson, look, they were the favorite. They were a favorite to win the AFC. Everyone thought the Broncos were just going to be incredible this year. And I don't know, is it Russell Wilson? Is it Hackett? Is it both? But I would agree with you that Russell Wilson at this point is either overrated or just completely washed.
Yeah, he had to been, a product of just the environment that he was in. And you remove him, like the Seahawks offense looks amazing, right? Like Geno Smith looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
He is the most accurate quarterback in the league through the first 4 weeks. They put up, what, 48 points last weekend? They had 23 points the weeks before. They didn't do anything against the Niners, but the Niners defense is just absolutely crazy.
Very good.
But also the way that the Seattle offense has changed. I mean, they're letting Geno throw the ball more than they ever let Russell, Wilson throw the ball. And so the whole thing is weird. The whole thing is weird. It feels like, they want revenge against Russ for wanting to leave. And I mean, they look like they won in that. I mean, I can't believe how much money this guy's making.
Now it's let Geno cook.
It's let Geno cook, and Geno is actually cooking up some 5-course meals. All right, people, we're brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the greatest sports betting app of all time. See, it's not just about the daily promos, odd boosts, or the hundreds of ways to wager. It's about the immortal words of Caesar himself. You bet, you get with Caesars Rewards. Every bet you place on the app, no matter the outcome, earns towards exclusive perks at Caesars Rewards destinations everywhere. Hotel stays, concert tickets, bonuses, and more. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app, become a Caesars Rewards member today, and get more with every wager. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-522-4700. Time now for Capper's Corner, where we will give you our best bets for some of the games on the Week 5 slate. First up, this is going to be another ugly one. We talked about last night, kicking a lot of field goals. I don't know about the Bears here. Bears at Vikings. Vikings are now 7.5-point favorites. Over under 44. This one's a little bit low. Chicago 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 away games. Minnesota 7-2 straight up in the last 9 against the NFC North. This total has hit the under in 13 of Minnesota's last 20 games against Chicago. That seems to be the trend here. If you like anything about this game, what are you liking?
I think there's something with coming on your show where I come on here and I'm just the biggest Bear supporter of all time.
Wow. Okay. Niners hater, Bears lover. I mean, okay, let's go.
Yeah, right. I was big on them to hit their total. I thought they would go 3-1 the first 4 weeks. I like the Bears here. You're getting 7.5 over, 7 in the hook in a division rivalry, especially the Vikings coming back from that London game.
Yep.
It's not a huge sample size, but historically, those teams coming back don't perform the best, especially against the spread. And their opponents typically do very well as far as on the offensive side of the ball. So the Bears have had struggles on the offense, primarily passing. Justin Fields has not looked the best. Their run game, though, is actually pretty strong. They're 11th in offensive rush DVOA. On the other side, the Vikings are god-awful against defending the rush. They're 27th in defensive rush DVOA. So I think the Bears actually do have some, advantages, some things that they could take advantage of and keep this game close. Not to mention 4 out of the last 5 of matchups in this rivalry have come down to a 1-score game. So if you're giving me 7 in the hook, I like the Bears here.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't have enough guts to put anything on the Bears. So instead, I'm going to fade the Vikings team total under the 26.5. This is at -115. I talked about it on the last show. Teams coming back from London that opt to not have a bye week, they are 3-2 to the under on their team totals after returning. And basically what you just said, the over for the teams that they're facing is 4-1. So I just feel like I don't have a lot of faith in this offense for the Bears, but I do think that the Vikings are going to be a little underprepared, a little bit jet lagged, and they're not going to be as productive. And the Bears defense is still there. It's not what it used to be, but it's still there. So I'm going to fade the Vikings here on their team total under 26.5. And if I'm looking at prop bets, though, I have to fade Justin Fields for under a passing touchdown. That's at +136. He has not had a touchdown drive in 3 games. The Bears have settled for 4 field goals. The Bears are off to one of the worst passing starts in a century. Their 67 pass attempts are the fewest by any team through 4 games since the 1982 Patriots. So if you're going to give me Justin Fields to be Justin Fields and this offense at +136, I'm definitely taking that one as well. Is there anything prop-wise you like on this game?
Justin Fields probably over rushing yards is one that I would probably look to take, and I think the Bears, like I said, I like the 7.5. I think they'll be able to keep it close. I do think the Vikings will win this game.
Yes.
So, I feel like they're a team, they just like usually play down to their competition. So if let's say there's an opportunity, maybe the Bears are up, 10-3 at the half or something like that, I would probably look to take the Vikings second half to come back and win that game.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, let's move on. Seahawks at Saints. We already touched on Geno Smith a little bit. Saints are 5.5-point favorites, over under 46.5. Seattle 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 games. Geno Smith, most accurate quarterback there is. The totals at the under in 10 of Seattle's last 15 away games. New Orleans is 1-6 straight up in their last 7 home games. That is a terrible home record. And the totals at the under in 4 of New Orleans' last 5 games against Seattle. So kind of interesting over under push and pull here. What do you like for this game?
I love the Seahawks here.
Yeah.
The line has dropped a little bit. I think it opened at 6.5. Now I'm seeing 5.5. So, you're not getting as good of a line, but I still like the 5.5. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Seahawks win this game outright. Like, let me pull up some numbers here for you.
Oh, pull 'em
Geno
up.
Smith as an underdog, 15-9-2 against the spread. That's 63%. Uncle Pete Carroll as an underdog, 43-27-2 against the spread. That's
Let's go, Pete.
61%. If you're hitting bets at 60%, you're making a lot of money in sports betting. And then on the other side, Dennis Allen coaching as a favorite. He's only 2-6 against the spread. So I think Sean Payton knew something, right, coming into this year. I think that's why he got the heck out of New Orleans. This team, I've been saying it, all preseason, all season long. I don't expect much from this team at all. I'm not a big Jameis Winston fan. And then you look at the injury report, Kamara and Landry both limited at practice the last 2 days. Winston and Michael Thomas have not practiced yet this week. Coming back from the London game, we already talked about the hangover effect. So how do you not take the Seahawks here? I like them, and I would jump on this one early because let's say, Kamara's ruled out, Jameis Winston's ruled out. This line's going to go down significantly. So I would jump on this before that happens.
I'm writing this with you, but I'm taking the Seahawks team total over the 20.5. I just talked about the team totals and the trends coming back from London. I like this a lot, and I've said it multiple times. I owe Geno Smith an apology. I had a whole video saying that, that was one of the big overreactions of week 1, and, not really. He's averaging 259.3 yards per game, 1.5 passing touchdowns per game, and they scored 48 points last week, 48 points, and they scored 23 the week before. You've set this line at 20.5. I know they're thinking the Saints defense is going to be mean and ugly, but again, I think they're going to be tired and jet lagged and underprepared, and I think that Seattle and Geno can definitely get over 20.5 points. That's even money too.
Yeah, I like that one as well. What are they? They're coming off a 48-point game, so 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and even money. Like, come on, like you think that Seattle can win this game? I definitely think that they can as well. I think that with the injuries and with the coming back from London, the Saints are not going to look great this weekend, but it's just, a plus money to be able to take them over 20. I mean, I love it. I love it. Is there anything else you like in this game?
No, I'm not going to take any props there for that one. Just, I like the Seahawks a lot. So I'll probably just stick to that one because, let's say you go Seahawks, they end up covering or winning the game. And then I take a prop that doesn't hit. Now I'm breaking even on a game where I really like the Seahawks and I should have just played them.
And that's actually a good thing to think about. Sometimes people like to load a bunch of stuff on in a game. Just look for the spots that you feel good about, where you feel like you have an edge. You don't have to bet a bunch of different things because, you're not going to be happy when you break even when all you really liked was one bet. So let's move on to your favorite team, or at least your favorite quarterback, the Falcons at the Buccaneers. Bucks are 9.5-point favorites, almost double digits, over under 46.5. The Bucks and the Falcons are both 2-2. The winner will take the lead of the division, something I don't think any of us thought that we would say going into this matchup. Atlanta 7-2-1 against the spread in the last 10 away games. Tampa 5-1 straight up in their last 6 against Atlanta. Also, Tom Brady has never lost to the Falcons. What do you think of this one? The total has hit the over in 4 of Atlanta's last 5 games and 7 of the last 8 Bucks games. So it seems like the over might be the trend to follow here, but what do you think?
So I'm on the fence if I'm going to play this, but I like the Bucks here. And hear me out. I know Tom is going through a lot of drama off the field.
Oh, it's sad. It makes me sad that they're getting divorced or allegedly, reportedly, however you want to say it.
Yeah, like normally I would be all over fading that just because, he's a human being. Imagine you're getting divorced, or rumors are circulating and, your business is out there. It takes a toll on you. But Tom Brady is not human. And it's, it's clear.
I was like, yes, Tom Brady's a human. And you're like, but not Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's clear at this point that Tom Brady cares about nothing more than football.
I
So
know.
he's coming off a game where it looked like the offense, kind of started to get things rolling in that Chiefs game. They started putting up points. I know they got off to the slow start. The defense looked terrible against the Chiefs. I don't know if it was the Chiefs' offense was really good or
Both. It's
yeah,
both.
right. Like Mahomes was doing things. It is Mahomes, so I'm not going to say it doesn't happen often because
That I will say that is the only quarterback that we should have 3 primetime games is seeing Patrick Mahomes 3 prime. Like why Russell Wilson? Anyways, keep going.
yeah, like the NFL is doing us a disservice as fans. We
Huge,
should be getting like
huge.
Chiefs Ravens games. No one wants to
Yes.
watch Bucks Colts. Like I
Nobody.
mean Broncos Colts. What a terrible game to give your fans. And then next week, what do we got? Commanders and forget who the Commanders play, but it's
The
another terrible
Bears, I
game.
believe,
Yeah,
right?
Bears. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we have the Broncos again on Monday night versus the Chargers, and I just feel like the Broncos just make everybody play bad. I mean, I don't know what it is. They have some kind of curse on the field, and then offenses can't do anything. And it's not. I mean, their defense is good, but anyways, I digress. We digress. Let's get back to this game. You're on Tom Brady and the Bucks
So you
minus the
already
nine and a
touched
half.
on it. Brady's 10-0 versus Atlanta in his career. He's 4-0 versus them with the Buccaneers. Those 4 games, he's won by a combined 57 points. I just think this is a get-right spot for a Bucks team that obviously they need the win. You already said winner takes first place in the division. They're coming
Wild.
off that bad loss on primetime game. And I just feel like this is, we've seen it in seasons past where the sharp side is the Falcons. I'll
Yes.
admit that, right? The sharp side is definitely the Falcons here. But sometimes the public wins as well.
Yeah.
And we've seen it at least the last 2 seasons. He's won by 57 points. Anytime the Bucks play the Falcons, the sharp side is always the Falcons, and then the Buccaneers just roll the Falcons. So I'm not going to get tricked by that, and I'm just going to, if I play this game, I'm going to go Bucks. I'll probably wait to see if I can catch a better live line.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers tend to start slow.
Yep.
So I think maybe if the Falcons can keep it close for a quarter or the first half and jump on the Bucks at a better line, but I would lean Bucks here for this one.
Well, this is the first time we disagree on the show today, which normally it happens a little bit sooner than this. I'm on the Falcons. I'm on the sharp side, plus the 9.5. Of course, that's at minus 110 over on Caesars. Tampa, I hear everything that you're saying, and I agree with you, but Tampa Bay has just been plagued with injuries, and they've got a really terrible run game right now, and they have a very inconsistent offensive line, which is clearly the biggest problem when it comes to someone like Tom Brady. Falcons also 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games. Overall, like you said, sharp money all over the Falcons, 30% of tickets, yet 62% of the money. So I agree with you in getting the live line, maybe something a little bit better because the Bucks tend to start slow. But for the Falcons to get 9.5, which is the way that they've been playing, I do think that, under their coach, who is he? Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith has the Falcons jumped from the 31st best run offense last year to the 4th ranked run offense this year. Now, the Bucks run defense, obviously very good, has been good for a long time. They've not allowed a single 100-yard rusher all season. I'm not giving the Bucks 9.5 in this game, so I'm going to go with the sharp side on this one. Is there any prop bets you're looking at?
Brady over touchdowns.
What is it? 1.5, 2.5?
I'm not sure what it is on Caesars.
Yeah.
I didn't see, but whether it's 1.5 or 2.5, I like it. I would think
I can get at least 3.
Yeah, I think Brady does toss 3 here. Like I said, these are usually the get right spots for him. Going up against these Falcons. Clearly, he's 10-0 versus them. But I think we'll see Brady kind of get things going. The receivers, another game healthier. I think we'll see a big game from Julio Jones. So maybe take him over yards. So yeah, I would just focus on Brady props.
I like that, and especially if they're passing touchdowns, because I'm going to fade the run game here. I mean, I told you how bad they are. I'm going to fade Leonard Fournette under 16.5 rushing attempts is at minus 125. After putting up only 3 combined rushing yards last Sunday versus the Chiefs, the Bucs now have the 2nd worst run game in the league. Fournette averages under this mark at 15 rush attempts per game. He had 3 last week, 12 the week prior. I just don't see him having that big of a bounce back. Maybe Brady's going to be airing it out. We can both hit on those. I'm fading playoff Lenny against the Falcons.
I'm trying to pull up what Tom's what his touchdown.
I'm curious if it's 2.5 or 1.5 would be all day, but 2.5, 3's a lot.
Yeah, it's 2.5 at plus 159.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Ooh.
I don't hate that at all.
I
I
don't,
like that.
especially because the run game is so bad. He knows that he can't trust that. So he's going to be airing it out more. So I might ride with you on that one at that serious plus money. I like it. Now we're moving on to the game of the week, at least to me, the 49ers at the Panthers. Niners favorite just under a touchdown at 6.5, over under 39. This is really, really low. Obviously, we know that the Niners have a very good defense and the Panthers offense has struggled a little bit. San Francisco
That's an
10 and
understatement.
5. San Francisco's 10 and 5 straight up in the last 15 games. Carolina 7 and 3 against the spread. Pretty good. Last 10 games against San Francisco, although, they've had some quarterback changes in there. The totals hit the under in each of San Francisco's last 5 games against the NFC, and it's hit the under in 5 of Carolina's last 7 games. Probably why this number is at 39. I'm going to go on a limb here and say you're taking the points with Carolina.
Yeah, this is, and I'll say this is one you got to hold your nose and pray because
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Niners, the defense, number one defense in the league so far.
Woo.
The Panthers, you said they're bad, but they're actually the worst offense in the league so far. Baker Mayfield looks absolutely terrible. But we just talked about the Bucks Falcons, right? And that line set at 9.5. How is this line only 6.5? Right?
Okay. Fishy
So
line.
yeah, Niners coming off the blowout win over the Rams, division rival, Super Bowl champs, high emotional win. Fade Shanahan as a road favorite. On my notes here, I have it underlined six times. Right, it's one of the better angles you can do. Shanahan as a favorite, not very good. When he's coaching as a road favorite, he's even worse. The 49ers have only put up 20 points in their 2 road games this year. I know one of those was with Trey Lance, so a little
And then
different.
one of those was that Broncos game, which was just, I blame the Broncos for just being a team that nobody scores in on those primetime games. But yes, continue.
Yeah, it's amazing because the Broncos defense looks amazing, but they just can't seem to win the games. But dogs on the 3rd game of a long homestand. So the Panthers have played, this will be their 3rd consecutive home game, are 33, 24, and 2 against the spread. And when the total is set at 42 or lower, dogs have covered 60% this year. And over dating back to 2018, it's like 63%. So it's even better than it is this year. And Jimmy G as a favorite, he's lost 3 out of his last 4. So, this is just a typical, we see it every week in the NFL, just overreactions. I do think the Niners will win this game. I don't go bet the Panthers money lines, but I think the Panthers should be able to keep it close here. And yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers here. I'm going to hold my nose though, because this is a scary one.
Yeah, that might be something that as the game goes, you might try to live bet or hedge a little bit depending on how it's going. I'm obviously on the opposite side of this. I'm taking the Niners minus the 6.5. And I like all of those nuanced trends that you found. I have some as well. Since 2019, the Niners are 11 and 3 in away games in the Eastern time zone. They do really good here on the East Coast. And then when they have a 2-week stretch of East Coast games, they're 7 and 1. We know they have Atlanta obviously next week. So that's going in our favor. So I'm not sure that Baker Mayfield is going to score at all against this 49ers defense. I mean, that front is mean. I would take Baker for an interception prop. He's got 3 already this season. If there's nothing on Caesars quite yet, but if there's a sack prop that pops up for Nick Bosa, he's leading the league right now in sacks and quarterback pressures. Definitely take that. I do think that Kittle needs to be involved more in this game. He almost had a touchdown in the last game, couldn't get his feet in. It was a beautiful pass by Jimmy Garoppolo, I will say. So I might sprinkle something on him for an anytime touchdown. I believe that's at like plus 200, but I do like him over the 3.5 receptions. If I look back to last year when he was playing in 11 games, he had at least 4 receptions and all the way up to like 13 receptions. They have to get Kittle more involved. It's one of Jimmy's favorite targets. I think this is a good spot for him this week, and I would just fade Baker Mayfield on everything. Any props that you like in this, or you're just plugging your nose?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to bet any personally, but just everything you're talking about, I do like that Kittle one. I think it's going to be a choppy, low scoring type of game. So I see a lot of check down type plays, probably Jimmy G taking what the defense is going to give him underneath. So yeah, I see Kittle easily cashing that over 3.5 receptions. I also think Kittle anytime touchdown is a good play. We saw Zach
Yeah.
Ertz score against the Panthers last week. So I think we'll see Kittle be able to get into the end zone this weekend.
Oh God, I can't wait. That's my jersey. That's one of my favorite players. He just can't stay healthy, which I hate saying the word someone can't stay healthy in this sport because I don't know how anybody stays healthy in this sport. So it's so weird to have that be like a negative knock against them when it's literally gladiators every single weekend. But let's move on to the Bengals at Ravens. There's a three-way tie in that division. Bengals, Ravens, and the Browns, all 2-2 so far. So whoever wins this game, of course, it's going to have some big implications for division standings. Right now, Ravens are 3-point favorites, over under 47. Cincinnati 10-2 against the spread in their last 12 games. They're pretty good at covering. The totals hit the under in each of Cincinnati's last 9 games. Baltimore 5-2 straight up in its last 7 against Cincy, and their totals at the over in 6 of their last 9 games. This one is interesting to me because I feel like the Bengals are starting to heat up. That offense is starting to click, and the Ravens look really good until they get to the fourth quarter and they completely implode. So what do you think?
And this is the problem with future bets. I feel like sometimes they can cloud your judgment. I'm
Yeah.
so all in on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens this year. I got to go with the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're coming off the bad loss. They should be 4-0. I think we can all agree they should be 4-0
Yes.
this year.
Yes, I said that last week. I mean, I think they are choking right now away their division because they absolutely should be 4-0. I agree.
Yeah, so the Ravens, NFL's number one offense this year. The Bengals defense, on paper, it doesn't look bad, but
Yeah.
they've played 3 backup quarterbacks, and Mitchell Trubisky.
True.
So
True.
Mitchell Trubisky is technically another backup quarterback.
Well, he is
So,
now.
he is now. Yeah, exactly. So the Bengals really haven't played anyone. I don't think the Bengals defense is going to be able to stop this Ravens offense.
Yep.
And I think after the way that things imploded against the Bills in the second half for the defense, I think this defense will come out and play a much more aggressive, physical game, especially it's a division rival. The Bengals swept the series last season, 2 games.
It's not happening again.
Lamar Jackson missed the one. He got hurt in the other. And in those games, the Bengals routed the Ravens. They dropped 41 points on them both times. So I think we'll see a Ravens team hungry to, reclaim their crown as on top of the division, coming off that bad loss. And we're going to see Lamar do MVP things. At least I hope, because I need him to win that.
I agree with you. I'm taking the Ravens in the first half based on the implosions happening in the second half and specifically the fourth quarter. So it's interesting because their first half spread is -2.5. So it's only like a hook less than the full game. So obviously books know what happens in the second half here. That's at -115 on Caesars. You just can't trust them in the second half. 2 fourth quarter implosions in 4 games. Baltimore is also tied for second in points in the first half this season at 18. Cincy is number 18 with only 10.8 points. That's an 8-point difference here. We're getting 2.5. I like it. I'm taking Ravens first half -2.5. I don't hate them for the whole game. I like them -3. I just feel more comfortable in the first half. I also lean over in this game. Bengals, not the Bagels. The Bengals offense is starting to click. They're averaging about 22 points per game. And like you said, the Ravens offense, best in the league right now, averaging 29 points per game. I think this could be a little bit more of a shootout than what the total has suggested.
Yeah, and anyone listening, definitely play the first half. I'm going to play Ravens first half as well, the -2.5 and the full game. And I see it starting to tick up to 3.5 at some places. So
Ooh, grab it now. Yeah.
You definitely got to grab it now because, division tight game. I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Ravens do win by a field goal at the end. And, we were talking about it with the Broncos game last night. What was Harbaugh doing in that game? First, just how do you not take the field goal there to go up with a couple minutes left in the game and just trust your defense to get a stop?
Yep.
Second, you got first and goal on the 1. You got Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. Let him run the ball 4 times.
Let him run the ball. Run the ball. Why is he throwing it? I know. I'm upset about this still.
I was watching that game just pulling the hair out of my head because had Lamar Jackson won that game, he's definitely the clear MVP frontrunner at this point. Which he still should be, in my opinion. He looks way better than Josh Allen.
The records always play an interesting role there, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that game, hopefully, that was a big game, could come back to bite me at the end of the season. But, Harbaugh, man, you got to run the ball. Take a lesson from Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl. Run the ball. You're on first and goal on the 1. You got the best player in the league right now. Just give him the ball.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched the post show last night when Richard Sherman was talking about, he's like, you got to run the ball there, run the ball. And it's like, yeah, I mean, everybody's still has PTSD from that Seahawks and not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. But yeah, take him the first half and take him full side game. I mean, double result isn't a bad one either. But yeah, the coaching this year has just been so interesting. I feel like they're not going for it when they need to go for it, and then they're not kicking the field goal and having terrible play calls when they should be. So it's just coaching this year has taken a hit.
It's almost like they're not sure, should they play the old school style way or should they trust the analytics? And it's like they trust the analytics at the wrong times, it almost seems. And when you should go for it, they're going old school, doing dumb things. So yeah, it's a weird. I feel like even this year in general, right? Typically, the NFL, the over is the better bet as far as the trends say. Usually, the over hits at a better rate, but this year I feel like games are flying under.
Oh yeah, flying under. And to credit to the Bills too for that game. I feel like they just put on a clinic of driving the ball back down, holding it, wasting time, wasting the clock, and not getting it back to Lamar and the Ravens, and just kicking the field goal. That was they were outcoached. Harbaugh was outcoached.
I had Ravens plus 3.5 heavy in that one, and I'm watching this game unfold, and I'm sweating. I don't know if it was because I was in Honduras or because of the game, but I was dripping sweat, thinking if the Bills score a touchdown here and I lose this game, I will be beside myself. So when I see Josh Allen take the knee, my heart was like, thank God.
Well, and for me, I took the Bills -3 because I just thought they've lost so many one-possession games. They're due. I didn't know, I thought that they were going to win the game, obviously, but I was like, they can at least keep this one close and win a single possession game, and then it ended up being a push. So look, they won their first single possession game. I didn't lose any money. You won money. Good enough for us.
Yeah, it's a win.
All right, Kenny, the time has come for Mox Locks. What are our best bets going into the weekend? I will start things off. I am taking the Steelers under 16.5 for their team total. It's at -125. This line is crazy. The Bills are getting 2 touchdowns. I think they could get it, but I still don't want to lay 14 points here. But, Kenny Pickett was quoted saying he doesn't think that they're underdogs and it's all in the attitude that you present. That's cute, Kenny Pickett. That's really, really cute. But you're going up against one of the best defenses in the league. You threw 3 picks last week versus the Jets. You're not scoring any points here. You're just not. I'm taking them under 16.5 team total, -125 on Caesars.
Yeah, I like that team total under. It seems like, obviously the Steelers, they just lost to the Jets, so you don't really need to say too much about them. They are not the same Steelers that we're used to seeing from years past. I like that team total under. One thing I like in that game too is Kenny Pickett probably over rush yards. I'm not sure what it's set at.
Ooh, yeah, he had 2 rushing touchdowns last week, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's someone, he's sneaky quick. He ran the ball a ton in college. He was very good at that. And the Bills defense, I feel like they're just going to be getting after him all game. Yeah. So he's going to have to probably just scramble, try and make things happen. So I like the Kenny Pickett over rush yards as well there.
And an interception. That's probably going to be juiced up the wazoo, but I would take him for an interception, throw it in a parlay maybe.
Yep. I guess technically he has, but hasn't thrown an incomplete pass yet, or the ball hasn't touched the ground, right? He's 10 for 13 with 3 picks. So
yes. All right. What's your first lock for the weekend?
I'm going to go Ravens first half. I know we talked about it a little bit, but Lamar Jackson throughout his career in the first half is one of the best bets you can make. So, we've seen it all season. The Ravens tend to start out very hot. So I'm going to ride that train. I'm going to go Ravens first half -2.5. I think they'll be up at least by a field goal there.
I love that. I mean, you already know I love that one too. I'm going to also give a lock for something I've said today. George Kittle over 3.5 receptions is at -108 on Caesars. The Niners are going to have to get him going. He's looking a little bit better. He's one of Jimmy's favorite targets. He had 4 or more receptions in 11 games of 14 played last year. I think it's a very good spot for George Kittle. What else you got?
So we're going to switch over to college football for this one.
Let's go.
Huge game on Saturday in the SEC. Tennessee taking on LSU in LSU. I absolutely love LSU this week. They're getting 3 points right now. It opened up at 2.5. Now it's sitting at 3. So yeah, as long as it's 3 or better. So I'm going to probably wait, see if this line creeps up to the 3.5. But LSU, in theory, should be undefeated as well. They lost a game on a blocked extra point. So Yeah, I just love LSU here so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Enough. You know what? Sometimes you just love it, and that is what it is. So
Yeah,
that's hey, we
just
get it.
looking at this game, you have Tennessee as the number eight team in the country. They're a high flying offense. Hendon Hooker has looked absolutely incredible this year. You know, they're the pace of play that they play at, one of the fastest teams in the country. I just think this is a classic. You know, public is going to be all over Tennessee coming off of a bye week. You know, and LSU is only getting the 3. Every square in the world is going to look and say, oh, give me Tennessee, easy money, easy money, easy money. But we all know there's no such thing as easy money in this game. So yeah, give me LSU at home with the 3.
All right, Kenny, I love it. To recap these Mox Locks, I'm taking the Steelers under their team total at 16.5. That's at -125. George Kittle over 3.5 receptions. That's at -108. And Kenny likes the Ravens in the first half, and so do I, -2.5. That's at -115. And take LSU +3 this weekend. Thank you so much, Kenny. Follow him on social at Kenny Bets Big. This has been Moxie Bets presented by Caesar Sportsbook. Also, follow us on social at Moxie Bets. We'll see you next week. Good luck on your bets.